Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Don't forget, if you like the video, click on like and subscribe and talk about it on chat lines, wherever it is your social media activities, and help us to grow and help more people. I'll talk to you soon. So Princeton says, good to see you again, Master Miraculous. Okay. I laughed that time, last time, right? And Anoop says, sir, I'm from India. I'm 19 years old and I have HOCD and I'm losing natural interest in girls. My question is, if I don't consult with doctor, then when my HOCD problem will be solved without any medicine? You don't need medicine for HOCD. HOCD is a glitch in the signaling system of the brain. It's a malfunction in the signaling system of the brain. The amygdala wants to protect you, so alarms you. From millions of years ago, amygdala's job was to alarm you for your survival. So if you were, let's say, in the jungle, because that was all there was, and you would hear a tweak sound, for the fear of if the dinosaur is about to eat you, you would just run because amygdala would give you a signal that there's a danger. And you wouldn't wait to see if it's real or not. You would just simply flee because that was the mechanism. That was why amygdala would send the signal for you not to judge it, for you to act on it and save yourself. Now, that amygdala has still remained overactive in some of us, and it sends an emotional danger signal when it doesn't exist. But we react to it nevertheless because we don't seek evidence that if this danger signal that was sent by amygdala is correct, should I act on it or not? We are programmed to act on it immediately. It's like in the war times when the bombers would show up on the skies of London, the siren would sound, and as soon as the siren would sound, indicating there are bombers over town, people would close the curtains, turn the lights off. Close the curtains, turn the lights off. But often the siren would go off. There was no bombers. But people wouldn't care what the facts are. They wouldn't even know. They wouldn't even investigate. They were programmed to do the same thing when they hear the siren. Close the curtains, turn the lights off. Close the curtains, turn the lights off. Even though there were no bombers. Same thing. Amygdala sends a signal of danger, knowing who you are, what your gender inclination and program is, to protect you. And since it's overactive and it's oversensitive, protects you even further by sending danger signals, even if there is none, even if a thought shows up, not the actuality of you, a suggestion shows up, like a picture you see in the street, or someone who is wearing a certain kind of a attire or none that represents certain thing that could represent a certain gender that you're not inclined or you're not interested in, sees it as something to bring to your notice, so you will protect yourself, to be aware of it. Any type of a possibility that you need to be aware of, amygdala sends a signal, danger signal, when there is no danger, overactiveness. And naturally, you would comply to act by becoming anxious and start, questioning, and why is it there? Because it shows up in my head, that sort of thought. It must mean something. While all along, brain is an apparatus, is an organ. Like any other organ, it malfunctions. Hmm? So when intrusive thought that is not in line with your values shows up, we have a mechanism in midbrain basal ganglia in the striatum called caudate nucleus. Caudate nucleus's job is to shut down intrusive thoughts once you notice them. Every human being on earth has intrusive thoughts. But in non-OCD brains, when intrusive thoughts show up and you notice it, oh, that's a nasty thought because it's not in line with your values. And then caudate nucleus shuts it down because it knows it's not in line with values of this person, and that's an intrusive thought. But when it malfunctions, it doesn't do the job that it's designed to do. So when it malfunctions, as it doesn't shut down the intrusive thoughts, they hover. The thought doesn't dissipate as it's designed to do. And when it doesn't dissipate, you get duped to think because it doesn't dissipate, it must mean something. I must be changing. The idea that the brain says brain cannot lie. These are all bogus. Brain lies, brain is stupid, brain is not your intellect, and brain malfunctions. And the fact that the brain has the power to, through the thought that's showing up in it, make the body react emotionally or in any way, shape, or form, that physical reaction that the brain induces through thoughts to body to react, to show its reaction to that thought, becomes an evidence for you that the thought must be correct. Why? Because I have a physical reaction to it, which is all bogus. Because brain has the power to make your body react when you're not interested at all for that reaction. No difference when you go to a doctor and the doctor wants to check your reflexes and has you put your leg, cross your legs, and then hits your knee, the joint of your knee, with a rubber hammer. And when it hits it, your leg jumps up. Did you want your leg to jump up? No, you had nothing to do. It's a reflection. It's a reflex. Reflex to that. So the brain can make the body react to things that you didn't want to, but it has the power. But the fact that it can make your body react emotionally or physically, that is not an evidence that the thought that was generated in the brain has any accuracy or legitimacy to it. You need to understand that you're not the brain, brain is not you. There is a separation between brain and you. The fact that you've been thinking that the brain is you, it's your leader, it's your protector, you're supposed to follow the brain, that puts you into shit all through life, and that brings craziness. Look, it's very simple to understand that you are separate from the brain. Brain is not you, you're not the brain. Why? Because the brain that you're using today just came to you only 40,000 years ago. But human species were living for millions of years before 40,000 years ago when we got to have a brain like this. So how did we live then? We lived by stem brain. We lived like animals. We lived instinctively. We ran, we hunt, we slept, we had sex, and there were no question about your sexuality or inclination. Why? Because there were no ability to think or speak. No words, no meanings, no thoughts. Thoughts are the roots of all problems. If you understand this and understand that hereditally, genetically, biologically, originally, you're separate from the brain. Brain and you are not the same. Brain is an addition apparatus to you. It can malfunction like any electrical equipment, like any other organ in your body, like your kidney, your liver malfunctions, even your knee malfunctions, and you help it to heal. You learn what to do. Your intestine malfunctions. You get diarrhea and say, oh, diarrhea. You don't say, oh, I've been diarrhea and diarrhea is what I've always been. I didn't know that. No, you start having yogurt and rice and you heal it, to fix it, and see what the doctor says and so on if you need to. Same thing with other organs, they malfunction. Same thing with the brain. Electronic systems break down. Brain is an electronic system, all neurons. There is no actuality, all virtual. It can come up with all kind of unbelievable, non-existing things as an ideas. But because it's happening in the screen of your head, you think it's you. It's an ability and an apparatus built for your convenience and your survival in this journey of life has. And that ability is conjuring up things. Conjuring up things that doesn't even exist, but it can conjure it up. I give an example. If you close your eyes and imagine for me, go ahead, close your eyes and imagine for me a lion with the head of a duck. A lion with the head of a duck. Or a lion with the head of an elephant with the trunk. You can imagine that, can you not? But is that an actual thing in nature? No. But the brain has a capability to create that image in your head, even though it doesn't exist in nature. When the brain has such power to do such things, brain can also make you and suggest an image, imagine things that you're not all about at all and you're not interested, and has the power to make you think that you're that, or you want to be that, or you would like to be that, or you prefer to be that, all because the brain has such power, but doesn't mean that is an actuality and truth in your case. It means the brain is malfunctioning and making up things because of its own reasons. Malfunctioning, wants to engage to not feel insecure, because from millions of years ago, our race has always been in pursuit of security. Security for the physical portion of our entity, and security for our psychological portion of our entity. Psychological security and physical security. But they each seek and find this security in different environments. Brain doesn't find security in the same way that the body finds security. Your body finds security because you see your ears are here, your limbs are here, your legs are here, everything is physically here, and you're in your apartment or your home, door is locked, and you're in good part of town. Physical environment, secured physical environment brings physical security to you. But the brain doesn't find security in the same way in a physically secured environment. But it wants security. But it finds its security differently. How? By occupation, by busyness, by creating thoughts. Through this creating thoughts, engaging you to debate it, to defy it, to refute it, to agree with it, to follow it, to fear from it, to be anxious for it, and all that, it creates interaction. It creates exchange. And that exchange creates busyness and occupation in the brain. That's how brain finds security. So when it creates something that you're not about, it knows you're going to rise against it, you're going to debate it, and that debate and refute and that interaction creates that atmosphere of having a place in a different dimension to feel that I'm here, I have a place. Because brain, unlike the body, doesn't know that it has a place in the body to concentrate, to focus. So it's all over the place. It's one day here, about the last year, it thinks about 2 weeks ago, it thinks about the future, goes to Mars, comes down, and second later ready to go to moon. It's all over the place. It doesn't have a place to be, so it creates that place to be in a virtual world, in a interactive business occupation in thoughts. Gets you involved in order to feel itself it's alive. Hmm? I forgot what I wanted to say. Somehow I forgot the train of thoughts. So if it has that power to create all these things that are non-existence, it can also make you question or become bamboozled, because it has the power to keep having something show up in your head in order to create that busyness for itself. But you, if you are smart enough and educated enough about the biology of you, about your existence, how you are, then you will know that the brain is not your leader, and you're not supposed to believe or follow the leader. You're supposed to judge the brain's thoughts. You're above the brain. You're the boss of the brain. Brain makes thoughts because brain is thought manufacturing plants. And you judge the thoughts if they're useful or not. There is nothing on this earth that can make any thought on its own by the brain to become an actuality in your life. It is only you who can choose, allow any thought to have any say, any meaning, any worth or value or actuality in life, or die by the wayside by not paying attention to it. That means you're above the brain. You're the boss of the brain. Brain is not you. You're not the brain. Brain is not your leader. Brain is not intellect. Brain is a stupid. Brain is an apparatus to facilitate your journey in this life for your convenience. If you focus on that, you will understand that you're the ultimate boss, and the brain has manipulation powers, but not ability to become actual. It's always trying to become actual, to take over you. But you're the only power. Through the power, choices, and veto, can veto anything that brain comes up with, or to allow it to become an actuality, but only you can do that, not the brain on its own. Brain is virtual. It has no responsibility or risk in its life. It doesn't put anything in line, online. It doesn't risk anything by all these things that it conjures up, because nothing belongs to it. Nothing can hinder it. Nothing can destroy its survival. It's neurons. But it knows there's an idiot like you, like me, who can possibly be duped to believe that the brain is above me. That's the problem. If you understand that you're above the brain, without you, brain is nothing. Why? Because if there was no you, if there was no you, there would have never been a brain. Why? Because this brain wasn't in existence until 40,000 years ago. But you were in existence a million years before 40,000 years ago. Our species lived instinctively. As I mentioned, it ran, it hunted, it slept, it had sex. It needed nothing else. There were no HOCD at the time. There were no intrusive thoughts at the time, because we had no ability to think or speak. All that started because brain was added to us, developed into this brain 40,000 years ago. From then on, we were able to speak and think. That's when the problems started. If you understand all these things, then you will learn that all you need to do is to help the brain to recognize it's sick, it's malfunctioning in the signaling system, and you need to help it to retrain it and rewire it to its default setting as it was. And if brain had never had anything to do with how you are and what your gender inclination is when you were being created in the wombs of your mother, every limb and every part of you, your heart, your kidneys, your organs and whatnot were being developed, your genitalia, your gender, your inclination, all were being developed without the brain being functional at all. Brain was not in existence when the rest of you was being chosen and created and decided and configured and programmed. So when the brain never had anything to do in the process of creating you, as far as your gender inclination and everything else about you is, how could brain have anything to do in the future later on after you're born to change you in any way, shape, or form, let alone your gender or inclination? It can suggest, it can manipulate you because it's powerful to think, but it can never change you. It's a bunch of neurons that make suggestions, like somebody walking behind you and keep telling you you're something that you're not. That's not going to change you. It's coming from somebody else. Brain is also like somebody else. It keeps repeating something in your head. It just means it's gone nuts. It doesn't mean it has any power. It wants to make you believe that you've changed. So kind of like a puppet, making you behave in a certain way that you've believed what the brain says and says, see, I've changed his gender. But in fact, he hasn't. If you don't believe it, it can't do shit to you, because you're the only one who can change anything and make it become an actuality in real life. Otherwise, everything else is just an idea, thoughts, image that the brain conjures up. Cannot change you, cannot affect you. If you're duped, it's like you've been had. Like many crooks that try to sell you something that doesn't exist. If you believe it, you think the crook is right. But if you don't believe it, then you're safe. That's the key. Understanding that the brain is not you, you're not the brain. Therefore, you're the only thing in this world, only power in this world, that while you think brain is very powerful, but it cannot become anything unless you allow a thought, a suggestion, become an actuality or reality in the actual world. The brain itself, by itself, cannot do it. Capiche? All right. That was the first question. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com, making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.